Hello fellow old schoolers. This is the third game of the mini-series here, and we're approaching the end of this bout. In this one, it's the very fast and aggressive Tax-Edge Aggro deck that we saw in the previous match coming up against my Skynet deck. Let's take a few minutes to go over the decks here. This is the Tax-Edge Aggro deck. Now, I went over this deck in the previous recording just a few days ago, but here it is for reference. It's very fast and has a lot of different synergies with the quick small critters there, supplemented by burn for a fast kill. There's black wises and copper tablets as well to provide additional damage. Then it has the Armageddon to close the game off, quick white weenie style, with a lot of creatures out. It has the land text to bounce back from that Armageddon quicker. And it also has a land text to synergize with the Winds of Change and to synergize with the Land's Edge for even more burn. And this is pretty great because, well, the usual problem for a deck with a very low mana curve like this with small aggro creatures and cheap burn spells is that it will tend to have all its basic lands be dead draws in the mid game. And he can then use those land cards in his hand to draw more creatures and burn spells with his Winds of Change, or I can just transform them into direct damage on the opponent via Land's Edge. So it gets more out of it this way. Just a very fast and efficient little critter, it seems. We saw him in the previous match against Jens Ole's Meta Punisher, and now he's coming up against Skynet. Skynet is my latest tournament deck featured on this channel, and it takes its name primarily from all the robots. It uses primarily Sushis and Triskelions as the Mark 1 and Mark 2 of the Terminators, and sometimes it uses Tetravus as well. Then it has the Judgment Day, which is the odd Armageddon it can cast, and also the Abyss. The Abyss sort of thematic as no organic life can survive. So each non-artifact creature, one artifact creature each turn will be buried by the Abyss. It doesn't have a lot of spot removal besides that, but it does have the nuclear winter in the form of the icy manipulators to lock the board state down, and also a winter orb to annoy the opponent more, because Skynet has a lot of artifact mana as well. It's fully powered and it uses Felver Stones on top of that to easier bounce off an Armageddon, and also to survive the winter orb more efficiently. And last but not least, there's the age-old trick where you can tap your own winter orb at the end step of your opponent, and then the winter orb will be offline, so that you can untap all your own lands, but it will be online again for the opponent's turn. Then Skynet makes use of some enchantments as well, namely the copy artifact and the animate dead. Thematically, that copy artifact is just Skynet. Once it has its blueprint ready, you'll just start copying those Terminators with no end in sight. And I'm kind of, with the animate dead, I mean, it is a brilliant card with Triskelion, and thematically it just looks, to me, it looks a lot like, well, I picture the Terminator in its skeleton form, rising above some burning wreckage like in the movies. I'll be back. And it's just great fun to let loose of all guns from a Triskelion, shooting all its counters for damage, and then sacrificing it and getting it back in with an animate dead, completely reloaded with the counters. So that is the overall strategy of Skynet. Now, it is pretty thematic, but we shouldn't make any mistakes. This is a tournament deck, and pretty efficient as well, and has a lot of good cards in it, and a lot of synergies with the robots and those enchantments. Though Skynet has invested in some force field technologies that will be rather dead draws in this particular matchup. It plays with City in a Bottle main deck, primarily as an extra out against opponent's Library of Alexandria, but also just to annoy many of the top tier decks of the format, like Fantasy Zoo and Armageddon, stuff like that. Blue-red counterburn as well. As the City in a Bottle destroys all Arabian Night cards, and the force field makes them so they can't interplay. But yeah, Tax-Edge Aggro has no Arabian Night cards in it as far as I remember. So yeah, let's see how this plays out. Let's brace for round number 1. A quick roll off here. 2 for Dance Edge and 3 for Skynet. Skynet on the right is on the play. Factory, an opening Black Lotus, sacrificed immediately here. So, yeah, wonder what will bring. Probably loads of options. Okay, Terminator coming out of the production facilities straight from the get-go here. Straight off the bat, we'll see if Tax-Edge can handle such an early threat. Blackwise, yeah, it would have been great if Lance Edge was on the play, but he's not. So Skynet is down to 4 cards after that Lotus opening, coming over the Sushi and a Factory here for 6 points of damage, bringing the Tax-Edge down to 14 life in the second turn here. Second Factory hitting the table, passing the turn. So he can't block the Skynet's Factory at this point. So just a robot comes lumbering over here, doing 4 points of damage. So yeah, turn 3 and Tax-Edge is already down to 10 points of life here. What a start from Skynet. Pretty damn lucky with that Black Lotus. Attacking here, okay. Yeah, so blocking with the Factory, he can pump it into a 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. Yeah, he pumps it here, and pumps it again, and now it gets disenchanted. The reason why I'm waiting for the block here is if I do it at activation, he'll just pump the other Factory and block with that. Or so I thought, but then I realized he doesn't have the mana for it anyway, so it was actually a misplay. Should have just disenchanted it before block. Never mind. Just pass the turn. But yeah, usually when there are 2 factories, it is a bit dangerous to destroy at activation because they can pump each other. Okay, Brass Iron Claws coming out here. 2-2, but it can't really block. Underground Sea from Skynet. Now Skynet doesn't play with Cities of Brass because it doesn't need that much color, so it isn't bothered by Blood Moon that much either. Icy Manipulator coming out. So the Nuclear Winter is setting in. Can't use it yet though. There's a Plains from Aggro, Tax-Edge Aggro. So I wonder if his Disenchants will be online here. He plays with a full playset of them, and they're worth weight in gold in this matchup. There's so many targets for them. So many artifacts from Skynet. Attacking with the Iron Claws, and there are no mana left to use the Icy Manipulator, so it just gets in for 2 points of damage here. Then he passes the turn. Okay, doesn't seem like to be a disenchant. Filverstone coming out. Yeah, the robot attacks again. Okay, there's a disenchant. Removing the Sushi from play. Back into the graveyard here. Okay, it was fun while it lasted. Pretty a reversal of roles here. One would think that Tax-Edge Aggro would be the aggressor in the opening game, but he is down to 6 points of life because that Sushi came down so early. And it didn't seem like Tax-Edge Aggro had any white mana for his disenchants. Okay, looks like he's trying to attack with the Iron Claws, but only those. It's getting tapped by the Icy Manipulator though, so it doesn't get in. He doesn't choose to attack with his Factory for some reason. He likely needs mana for a disenchant. If I chose to block with the Factory, he would disenchant the Factory. But he can't both attack with his Factory and disenchant at the same time. So passing the turn. Now it's Skynet's turn. It activates the Factory and comes over here. And here's the disenchant. So probably should have seen that coming. But I'd actually much rather have him disenchant the factory than the Icy Manipulator at this point. Another Black Wise coming down. Gotta watch out for those. And another Iron Claw Orc. So yeah, momentum is shifting here. The aggression is slowly shifting back to Tax-Edge Aggro. There's a Sorta Plowshares at his end step though, getting rid of one of those Iron Claw Orcs. But he still has 2 attackers, and there's only 1 Icy to stop them. Skynet doesn't have enough cards in hand to be influenced by those, or damaged by those Black Wises. So passing the turn right back to Tax-Edge Aggro control here. Let's see what he can make happen. Giving it a bit of a think here, then activating the factory. And Skynet taps the Iron Claw and then disenchants the factory. So yeah, just it's a struggle here to for dominance of the board at this point. Removing each other's stuff. So far, it hangs in the balance. Here's a Demonic Tutor out of Skynet. Now there are several lines of play. The usual target would probably be the Ancestral Recall here. Mind Twist could be another viable target. An Abyss could be used as well. It would be pretty annoying for him, getting rid of his creatures, and he has used 2 or 3 disenchants at this point. Another Icy could perhaps be nice. Okay, it's the Ancestral Recall though. Trying to break the gridlock here and push ahead in cards. Okay, strip mining the plains, cracking him out of white mana for his disenchants and etc. Oh, but it was a bit too early. There's a plateau he drew into, so he's still mana fixed. Still only has 2 lands though. He needs a land tax. Featherstone as well out of Skynet, so the Icy Manipulator can still be used against the Iron Claw Orc. You should still... Okay, this time disenchanting the Icy. Before that, it just taps the Iron Claw Orc one last time. This is a pretty crucial play, getting rid of the Icy Manipulator finally. Now he can perhaps get in. Okay, mind twisting his hand. There's a Chain Lightning and a Copper Tablet and another black and a Balance, and yeah, another disenchant. Is that the 4th disenchant at this point? I think so. Yeah, I think he's drawn them all at this point. Coming over the Iron Claw Orc, so now there's an open field after the death of that Icy Manipulator. Putting Skynet down to 16 points of life here. Ooh, something big at this point. Okay, Triskelion coming down, fully loaded. It's a 4/4 and can sacrifice counters to do damage to any target, and it has -1/-1 each time. Ooh, another Triskelion here. That's 6 points of damage already. Yeah, and as he can't block with his Iron Claws, I just attack with the Triskelion for 4 damage, and then I shoot him for 6. That's 10 points of damage in one go. Boom. So yeah, Skynet took the first one after a very, very aggressive first half of the match here with that Sushi. I even had another Sushi and a Copy Artifact in hand, so Skynet could really let the Terminators rip at this point. So we're gearing up for round number 2. We don't use any sideboards. I'm not sure he has any sideboard yet. But it could be fun to try at some point. He would likely get in some Divine Offerings and perhaps Dust to Dust against Skynet. That would be pretty good. I'd probably get in some Blue Blasts as well against all his Burn and yeah, the Land's Edge. So, but no sideboard here, just main deck versus main deck. So Skynet can't get rid of its useless City in the Bottle at this point. And now Aggro, Landsticks Aggro must be on the play here. Let's see if there's any mulligans. I think his deck really likes to be on the play with those Black Wises and Savannah Lions. Yeah, there we see one. He really likes that momentum, I'd bet. So a plateau into a Savannah Lion turn 1 here. This looks more like a usual game with the Landsticks Aggro deck, with him being the beatdown or the aggressor here. Let's see what's got. Ooh, another Black Lotus turn 1. This is... okay, just this time then only an icy though. Could have been a bit worse. But there's a mana untapped, so I think I sacrificed the Mox and kept the Lotus in. That's not not a legal play. Okay, he reminds me here. Okay, so that's an icy. Coming out another Savannah Lion. Okay, the icy taps down the first Savannah Lion. We now have 3 attackers in the second turn here. Scrubland hitting the table out of Skynet and a Pearl. Okay. So, almost emptying Skynet's hand at this point, but at least we have some mana. Okay, that's a tutor. Pretty damn lucky. It must be, well, again, it can be the Abyss or it can be an Ancestral Recall. Likely an Ancestral Recall. There's that Tundra untapped. Just nice way to get some cards back in hand. Trying to stabilize and get those critters stopped before Skynet is overrun. Let's see what comes out of it. Okay, time walking. Could that have been the tutor target? It's a bit odd. Okay, no second land drop here. Okay, here's the Ancestral. I think that was the tutor target, perhaps. Okay, now a land drop. And there's the Abyss. Okay, so a lion is doomed here, as the nuclear holocaust will remove one of those lions immediately. Yeah, he needs a couple of disenchants here, at least one disenchant to get rid of the Abyss. Otherwise, Skynet will gain control here, though he can still burn it out. Playing a plateau here, he comes swinging with the lion. No mana left for the Icy Manipulator. Then a bolt to the face and a copper tablet. So Skynet is down to 14 life here. Slam. 6 points of damage. Then Brain Geysering for 3 cards here. Just accumulating a lot of data. We need a land drop. Okay, there's Workshop into a Felver Stone. So, yeah, we can still use the Icy Manipulator with that Felver Stone to tap one of the attackers. Oh, yeah, and then the lion dies to the Abyss. He takes a point of damage from his own copper tablet. And then tapping his factory in his upkeep, might as well. I will tap it during attack, and this holds him back from using it for mana in his main phase. Getting down an Iron Claw Orc, a bit weird, as it will die to that Abyss next turn. Strip mining the factory this time. Sapphire coming down. And an Icy. Okay, yeah, he changes the play. It was a Chaos Orb that he played. It didn't make sense with the Iron Claw Orc. Okay, Chaos Orb, that's nice. If he can make it work. I might have a disenchant though. Should probably Chaos Orb the Abyss, right? He has a head 5 life, so that copper tablet is nice for him. For now. Wonder what he'll pick. What? What's going on here? After he's taken the damage, I'm disenchanting his copper tablet, and then he's disenchanting my Icy. It's a bit weird. Okay, I tap his Chaos Orb. Just for good measure. Why didn't I disenchant the Chaos Orb at activation? Suppose I was a bit afraid of being burned out by that copper tablet. I think that's why. I think I'm feeling rather confident that even if he takes the Abyss, I'm okay. Okay, so he targets the Triskelion. I shoot him with the Triskelion before he kills it. He can retarget now if he wants to, and we tell him this here. So the Triskelion is only a 1/1. After it's shot its counters, he can just choose the Icy. But he really wants to get rid of it, so he keeps on targeting the Triskelion. I think I would have taken the Icy at this point, But he might be afraid of that triskelion being a 1/1, and he might also be afraid that I have copy artifacts and I can just copy it again and again. So it is a debatable play. It could certainly make an argument can certainly be made to get rid of this triskelion before any copy artifacts gets down. Okay, passing the turn back to him here. And in his upkeep, I'm tapping one of the plateaus. As a response to that, it disenchants the final Icy here. So he reckons the Ices are worse for him, apparently, than the Abyss. Okay, first sushi coming down here. Is an age-old trick, this one, with artifact creatures and the Abyss. So the Abyss just keeps on removing creatures, but it won't target artifact creatures. Okay, casting Wheel of Fortune here. Getting a lot of card advantage for him. 7 new cards. But, I mean, Skynet has also refilled its hand then. But I suppose that he needed to do this just to try and... I mean, he empties his hand quite fast with such a low mana curve, so he wants to get the engine going here and perhaps burn Skynet out. He's only 13 lives left, and he has all these burns and spells and also Black Wises. So we'll see what happens here. Passing the turn back to Skynet. Yeah, that's the bad part about the wheel, right? That he has spent his mana now, and now he needs to pass the turn back to Skynet after having spent everything. Oh, there's a mind twist. Yeah. Brutal. Really, really mean. So, taking out 7 cards from him. That was a Winds of Change in his hand. Didn't see what else. Really a brutal gut punch here after wheel. But Skynet, it really accumulates mana so fast here. So with all the artifact mana, so pulling well ahead. And now copying the sushi and attacking for 4. Okay, top deck mode for Land's Edge here. Factory. And 2 sushis staring him down. And a factory. What's going on here? I don't mean to alarm you, but now there's 4 sushis. 2 coming over, 8 points of damage. Next turn, it'll be 16 points of damage. He forfeits the game here. Just a veritable army of robots coming down. And an IC as well, and a factory. It'll actually be... Yeah, I had a balance left in hand. Didn't want to play that. There's actually 2 factories there, so it's 20 points of damage in the next attack step that Skynet will bring. 2-0 for Skynet this turn, this time around. Luck was on its side, and it managed to kind of just overwhelm the Land's Edge player. But perhaps after sideboard, once Land's Edge aggro deck gets its even more artifact removal in, it might be standing up stronger in this matchup. Time will tell. This is at least the first time we've tried this particular matchup. So that's it for this round of games, but we have even more games planned in this week, so more will soon follow. There is also a tournament coming up, so yeah, we're getting back to some semblance of normalcy here with a real live tournament for the first time in ages, it feels. Coming up in, I think, only 5 days or something. So I need to find out if I should play with Composition A or Skynet or something else altogether. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next one.